and we will get started. So welcome to tonight's practice. Well done for making it to your mat this evening on this cold March evening. So tonight's practice is going to be focused on connecting your mind, body, and your breath. So we'll go ahead and get started in a constructive rest, just to land on our mat this evening. So go ahead and get started lying down on your back. Let's take your feet as wide as your yoga mat. Just allow your knees to come to rest against each other. And then just rolling your shoulder blades underneath you. Find a slight tuck of your chin here to your chest. And then you can either bring both hands to your belly, or you can bring one hand to the belly and one hand to your heart. And then if you feel comfortable here, you can soften the gaze or close down the eyes. And we're just going to take a few moments here just to land. So taking a couple of moments now just to reflect on your day. So allowing yourself just to float over whatever happened for you today. Just noticing if anything stands out for you. Perhaps a feeling or something that happened. And then I'd like you to see if you can try and focus on one positive thing that happened today. It could be something huge, or it could be something humble. One positive thing. Maybe it's an event, maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's a circumstance. And then once you've given your gratitude for that one positive thing during your day, see if you can let the day go. So just completely let go of everything thus far. So any thoughts, feelings, emotions that you have arrived with, acknowledging them and then letting everything go. And just bringing yourself into this present moment on your mat. Good. And then we'll start to tune into the sound of your breath. And we're not trying to change the breath here in any way. You're just observing the natural coming and going of your breath. And then maybe you start to extend your exhale breaths. And then maybe as you inhale, you'll start to notice the belly inflating. Taking nice deep breaths in through the nose, sending the breath to the belly. And then enjoying a nice long exhale breath. Good. Take 3 more breath cycles like this. Inhaling to fill up the belly. And then exhaling to let everything go. Good. Take one more. Beautiful. And then if you'd like to, then I'll invite you to set an intention for your practice this evening. Just something positive that you want to bring into your time on the mat. When you're ready, you can blink the eyes open, take a nice soft gaze, and we're just going to roll ever so slowly, knowing that tonight is a practice of slow movement and slow energy. Off to one side. Maybe you take a moment against the ground just to allow the body to feel supported. And then whenever you're ready, you can gently press yourself up and let's meet in a seated position or Sukhasana. So with the legs crossed, and then we'll just move the fleshy parts of your bottom away so you can really ground down through your sit bones. And then think of a little thread running from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. So we're just finding that length in the spine. Let's inhale, draw your shoulders up towards your ears. And exhale to roll them back and down. Beautiful. Take two more. Inhale, squeeze your shoulders up. Exhale as you roll them back and down. Last one. Good. And then we're going to start to move through some seated cat-cows here. So as you inhale, let's tilt your pelvis forward, arch your spine, lift your heart, lift your gaze. As you exhale, let's round through the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Good. Inhale to tilt the pelvis, lift the gaze, open through the throat. Exhale as you round through the spine, tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin. Good. And then just moving through a few more at your own pace, and let's see if you can use your breath to guide you here. So really tuning into your own breath. And you might be moving faster than me, you might be moving slower than me, and that's okay. It's going to look different for everyone. So just starting to iron out the creases of the day, starting to release any tension that you might be holding in your body from the day. Good. And then making your way back to a neutral position. And from here, we're just going to start to find some circles over the hips. And what I'd like you to do as we find these circles is just to make sure that both your sits bones stay grounded onto your mat. So you're not popping off to one side. So we want to stay nice and grounded, nice and rooted to the earth. And as you come forward, perhaps you find that arch and that tilt of the spine. And as you come back, you'll round through the spine, tuck the chin, heavy the head. Good. So just starting to find a little bit of fluidity here. Perhaps your circle has gotten a little bit larger. And then as you're ready, just starting to take your circles in the opposite direction and just noticing how that feels. Beautiful. You might close down the eyes. Good. And then as you're ready, let's start to make these circles a little bit smaller until gradually you make your way all the way back to a neutral position and the spine is nice and tall and the chin is tucked slightly Let's roll your shoulders up, back and down. And then we're going to move into a butterfly pose. So let's bring the soles of your feet together, allow the knees to fall out wide. And then as always, you can just play with the distance of the hips to the heels. Just find somewhere that feels comfortable for you. And then let's bring your hands to rest on your ankles. Sit up nice and tall through the spine. Take a big breath in. And then as you exhale, let's hinge from your hips, start to fold forwards. You can round through the spine, heavy the head, tuck the chin. And then you might release the fingertips down onto the floor. And just see if you can breathe into the hips. Good. You might notice a stretch in the muscles of the groin. And just know that there's no pushing or forcing here. Just allow gravity to do its thing. Just breathing into any area where you might feel some tightness, where you might feel some strain. Good. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath. Nice big breath in, fill up the belly. And then open the mouth, exhale. Good, last one, inhale to fill up. Exhale, release. And then slowly you can start to walk the fingertips back towards your body as you uncurl through the spine, and the head is the very last thing to come up. You can blink the eyes open if they were closed and just take a moment here to settle into the spine. Good. And then from here, the legs can stay as they are, but we're just going to take your hands behind you, and you can either take the palms down with the fingers pointing towards your body, or you can spin the fingertips around so they're facing the back of your mat. And wherever you choose to be, what I'd like you to do is press down through the palms, spread the fingertips nice and wide, and see if you can puff up your chest. So it's almost like you're arching through the spine again. And then you're going to send your gaze up, tilt your chin up slightly, and then we're just going to take a few breath cycles here, breathing into the heart space. So really finding some space in the front of your body. So just imagine breathing into the front of your spine, the belly, the front of your ribs, the front of your chest, and the front of your throat. And if you feel comfortable, you can start to trace a line with the eyes up and back. Maybe you tilt your chin back slightly and open the throat. Keep breathing. Notice if the spine has begun to collapse, and just see if you can keep puffing out the chest forwards, breathing into that space in the heart. Good. And then slowly you can start to tuck the chin towards the chest. Slowly you can start to walk the fingertips forwards. And then we're going to take a little seated pigeon here. So let's bring your feet to the mat, and we'll take a nice little bend in your knees. And then again, you can bring the hands behind you with the fingertips facing towards the hips, or the fingertips facing outwards. Just find somewhere that feels comfortable. And then we'll hook your right ankle over your left knee. And we'll just start to find a little sway of the hips here from side to side, nice and gently, nice and slowly. Just notice any sensation that appears for you in your physical body here. Maybe you're feeling this in the right hip, in the right glutes. See if you can start to send the breath there as you rock from side to side. And then we'll just see if we can drop your right foot off to the left. Send your gaze over the right shoulder. Good. And then slowly come back to center. Let's switch sides. So this time we're going to place your right foot back down on the mat with a nice big bend in your right knee. And we'll hook your left ankle over your right thigh this time. And then you can just start to find that little rock from side to side. Good. Feeling that little opening out through the left of your hip. The left of your hip, your left hip, I mean. You can tell it's the end of the day. Good. So just staying with those nice deep breaths here, those nice long exhales. And then just seeing if you can start to drop your left foot over to the right side. Send your gaze over the left shoulder. Big breath in and a big breath out. Good. And then slowly make your way back to center. And then from here, we're going to take half head to knee. So let's extend your right leg down the mat. Find a bend in your left leg, and we'll bring the sole of your left foot to the inside edge of your right leg. Let's find some length in your spine here. So just imagining that little thread from the base of your spine to the crown of your head, ground through your sit bones. Take a big breath in. And then as you exhale, let's hinge from your hips, start to fold over your right leg. Maybe you walk the fingertips forward slightly, and then you'll start to round through the spine, heavy the head. And then just know that there's no pushing here, there's no forcing. You just land where you land and you enjoy the sensation. So don't worry what this looks like aesthetically, just enjoy where you are. On your next breath in, let's straighten through the arms, come up onto your fingertips. Spine is long, gaze forwards. And then exhale, bend the elbows around the spine, fold. Good. Let's take that 2 more times. Inhale to straighten the spine, look forwards. And then exhale as you bend through the elbows, around the spine, heavy the head. 1 more. Inhale, press through the fingertips, lift the gaze. Exhale, round through the spine, heavy the head. Good, beautiful. Good. And then from here, slowly you can roll all the way back up through the spine, 1 vertebrae at a time, until the head is the last thing to come up. And then from here, we're going to take your right arm to the inside edge of your right leg, or you might just bring it up onto the top of your right thigh. As you inhale, let's sweep your left arm behind you, start to reach it all the way up and over, heading towards your right toes. And we'll start to find a little bit of integrity with your right arm and your right leg. So your right leg will be pushing towards your right arm and your right arm's going to push your leg away. Good. And then you'll wrap your heart underneath you. Send your gaze up underneath your left armpit and start to breathe into the left side of your body. Beautiful. A nice big breath in and a long breath out. Good. Enjoy this stretch. 1 last breath. Good. And then slowly you can start to come all the way back up. Beautiful. And we'll take it to the other side. So this time we'll extend your left leg. Big bend in your right leg. Take your right sole of your foot to the inside edge of your left leg. Let's move the fleshy parts of your bottom away. Sit up nice and tall through the spine. As you inhale, find some length. As you exhale, start to walk the fingertips forwards. Hinge from the hips, round through the spine, heavy the head. You can close the eyes here if you feel comfortable. And again, no pushing or forcing. You just land where you land, and that is exactly where you're supposed to be. As you inhale, look forward, straighten the spine. As you exhale, round, heavy the head. Good, 2 more. Inhale as you ripple forward, straighten the spine. Exhale to round. Good, last one. Inhale, straighten the spine. Exhale, round. Good. And then when you're ready, let's take your left arm to either the top of your left thigh or the inside edge of your left leg. And then as you inhale, you'll sweep your right hand all the way up and over, fingertips towards the left toes. As you inhale, let's find some integrity here, pressing the left leg into the left arm. Spin your heart underneath you. Imagine your ribs are rotating on a spit, and send your gaze underneath your right armpit. There should be a lovely, beautiful stretch in the right side of your body. See if you can send your breath there into that space that you've created. Beautiful. And then slowly you can make your way all the way back up. Let's find our way back to our Sukhasana. So just taking a seated position, sitting up nice and tall through the spine. As you inhale, sweep both hands up to the sky, send the gaze up. As you exhale, let's take a twist to the left. Good. Inhale to find length in your spine. Exhale, twist from your belly button, send the gaze over the left shoulder. Good. And just think of rinsing out the day, rinsing out any tension that you might have left over in the body. Good. And then releasing back to center. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, twist to the right this time. As you inhale, you'll sit up nice and tall, draw the crown of your head to the sky. As you exhale, let's twist over, gaze over the right shoulder. Good. And then slowly coming back to center. Beautiful. From here, we'll meet in a tabletop position. So if it's available to you, you can just roll over the knees. Otherwise, we will just meet each other in our tabletop and we'll start to find some cat-cows here. So let's stack your wrists underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. As you inhale, drop the belly, pull the heart forwards, lift the gaze. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, chin to chest. Good. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale as you round through the spine, chin to chest. Good. And let's continue with this movement here, just seeing if you can marry the movement with the breath. And what I'd like you to do is just imagine that you are moving from the belly button. So everything starts from the belly button. So you pull the belly button down as you breathe in, and then draw the belly button back up towards the spine as you breathe out. Good. And just take a couple more here in your own time. Lovely. And then making your way back to a neutral spine. Let's walk your hands forwards about 1 palm distance. And then let's walk your knees backwards ever so slightly so that your hands are no longer underneath your shoulders and your knees are no longer underneath your hips. There's a little bit more space here in our tabletop position. And we're just going to start to find some circles with the hips. So just taking your circles in one direction. Just embracing any pops or clicks here. Again, just ironing out the creases of your day. And then maybe you start to drop the hips forward, moving through a little cobra or an up dog. Maybe you drop the hips all the way back into a child's pose. Beautiful. And just remembering to breathe here. And then I'll invite you to close down the eyes. So really dropping into what this feels like for you in your body in this moment. And then perhaps just taking a moment as we move through these circles just to honor your body exactly as it is. And then when you're ready, you can start to move your circles in the opposite direction. So perhaps you start off the circles quite small. And then slowly and gradually, your circles will become a little bit bigger. Good. And then slowly we'll start to make the circles a little bit smaller. And we'll make our way in our own time back to our tabletop position. So just drawing the hands back underneath the shoulders and the knees, back underneath the hips. And then we're just going to bump your hips off to the left hand side and then take your gaze over the left shoulder. Good. So this is a little compression of the spine. So just imagine drawing your left shoulder to your left hip. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Good. And then we're going to bump your hips over to the right this time. Send your gaze over the right shoulder. Big breath in and a big breath out. Beautiful. And then come back to center. Let's take your big toes to touch. Take your knees as wide as the yoga mat. And then we'll just start to move through those cat cows here, this time with our hips a little bit wider. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. As you exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Inhale, drop the belly, pull the heart through. Exhale to tuck the pelvis, draw the belly button up to the spine. Good. And then just moving through a couple more at your own pace. Good. And then bringing your knees back underneath your hips. And then from here, we're going to extend your right leg out behind you. Take a big breath in. And then as you exhale, let's step your right foot all the way up between the hands. So the hands are framing your right foot. I like to take my stance a little bit wider. So just find somewhere that works for you and spread the right toes nice and wide. We're going to move into a low lunge. So start to press through your right foot, squeeze the inner thighs together. And on an inhale breath, let's sweep your arms all the way up. Take Anjali Mudra, prayer position. And then we'll start to tuck your rib cage, squeeze the inner thighs together. Lift the heart, lift the vision. Good. See if you can start to pull your heart through. Maybe you lift your chin slightly. Breathe here. Good. We'll take 3 more breath cycles. Nice long exhale breaths. Breathe into the heart space. Good. Take a big breath in. And then as you exhale, let's twist to the right. Send your gaze over the right fingertips. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Good. And then on an inhale breath, sweep both arms all the way back up to the sky into prayer position. And then exhale, float your prayer all the way back down. Let's place your hands on the inside edge of your right foot. And we'll start to heel toe your right foot to the right side of your mat, coming into a little lizard pose here. And you might stay here or you might roll onto the outside edge of your right foot. And then we're going to bring your weights ever so slightly into your left palm. As you inhale, sweep your right hand forwards all the way up and back. And then you might just bend at the elbow and tuck your right hand towards your left hip. Send your gaze over your left shoulder. Start to sink a little bit deeper into your hips. So notice if any sensations coming up for you in this pose, and then just seeing if you can send your breath to those places. Good. Let's stay here for 3 more breath cycles. Good. And then when you've taken your 3 breath cycles, as you inhale, let's sweep your right hand all the way up and over. And then we're going to come into a little pigeon pose here. So let's start to heel toe your right foot to the left side of your mat. And then we'll drop the right hip down. You can either have the right shin parallel here, or you can tuck it in a little bit towards your hips. That's what I tend to do just because that's not really available for me. And then we'll just take a little peek back and make sure that your left leg is nice and straight. Bring your fingertips down onto the mat in front of you. As you inhale, let's find length in the spine. And then as you exhale, we'll start to fold into our pigeon pose. So you might just heavy the head, you might come onto the forearms, or you might start to make a little pillow with the hands and bring the forehead down towards the mat. We'll be here for 3 cycles of breath. Good. Last breath. Beautiful. And then to come out, let's draw your palms underneath your shoulders. Press through the palms to lift the upper body. And then we're just going to slide your right knee all the way back. Come up onto your left knee. And we'll meet back in a tabletop position. And I just want you to take a little sway of your butt from side to side. Good. It should feel quite nice in your right glute. Good. And then we're just going to start to find those circles one more time with the hips. So let's take your hands about a palm width in front of you, and then take your knees back ever so slightly. So you've got a little bit of a longer tabletop than you normally would. And then we'll start to find those circles with the hips. So moving nice and slowly, not trying to rush anything, not worrying what this looks like. You can close down the eyes. And then maybe you start to move through an up dog or a cobra. Maybe you sink the hips all the way back to a child's pose. And then notice, where is the breath? Just making sure that you're not holding the breath. And then when you're ready, you can start to find some circles in the opposite direction. Maybe you close down the eyes. Good. And then slowly you can start to make your circles smaller until you find your way back to a neutral spine. And let's come back to our neutral tabletop position with the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. This time, let's extend your left leg behind you as you take a big breath in. And then as you exhale, start to bend through your knee, draw your left foot all the way up to the top of your mat, coming into that low lunge. So again, I like to widen my stance ever so slightly here, just gives me a little bit more stability. And then when you get here, spreading the left toes nice and wide, start to press through your left sole of your foot. Draw the inner thighs together, so really squeezing the inner thighs together so you find that little lift in the pelvic floor. As you inhale, let's sweep the hands up towards the sky, hands meet in prayer. Pull your heart through, lift your vision, find a slight tuck of your rib cage underneath you. Good. And then just see if you can start to engage the muscles of the pelvic floor here. Notice if your shoulders have come up nice and high and see if you can drop them back down. Good. As you inhale, maybe you trace a line with the eyes all the way up and back. Maybe you open through the throat. Good. Let's take 3 cycles of breath here. Beautiful. When you finish, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, let's find a twist to the left. Good. Send your gaze over the left fingertips. Big breath in and a big breath out. Good. Inhale, let's sweep both hands back up towards the sky. Hands meet in prayer. Exhale, let's float the hands back down. This time, let's bring them onto the mat on the inside edge of your left leg. And we'll heel toe your left foot to the outside edge of your mat, finding your lizard pose. See if you can sink the hips a little bit deeper. And then you might just stay here if this feels like enough for you. Otherwise, you can roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. And then let's start to bring the weight ever so slightly into your right hand. As you inhale, sweep the left arm forwards, all the way up and back behind you. Maybe you find a bend in the elbow. Take the back of your hand to your right hip. Send your gaze over the left shoulder. Good. This should feel like a proper little rinse of your body here. Let's take 3 breaths. Good. Big breath through the nose and a nice long exhale. Good. One more breath. Good. On your next inhale breath, let's sweep that left arm all the way back up and over. And then we'll start to heel toe your left foot to the right side of your mat, coming into pigeon on the other side. And again, you might have your left leg parallel to the front of your mat if it's available to you. If not, you can just draw your knee further in towards your hip. Just take a little peek back and make sure that your back leg isn't starting to sickle here. So you want a nice strong back foundation, really pressing into the top of your back foot. Come up higher onto the fingertips. As you inhale, start to find length in the spine. And then as you exhale, start to fold forwards. Maybe you just bring the chin to the chest. Maybe you come down onto the forearms, or maybe you bring the forehead all the way down onto your mat. Wherever you are, let's take 3 cycles of breath. Good. So breathing into the hips, breathing into the back of the body. Good. And then to come out, let's draw your palms underneath your shoulders. Start to press through the palms to lift the upper body. And then we'll slide your left leg back. Meet me in a tabletop position. And we'll just take a little sway of your butt from side to side. Good. And then when you're ready, you can cross the ankles, start to walk the hands all the way back towards your body. And then we'll find ourselves in Sukhasana at the back of your mat. From here, we're going to take our butterfly pose one more time. So just bringing the heels together, allowing the knees to fall out to the sides. As you inhale, taking a nice tall spine. As you exhale, start to hinge from the hips. Heavy the head, round through the spine. Tuck the chin to the chest, close down the eyes. And just give yourself a moment here. And really seeing if you can send your breath into the back of your body here. Good. And then when you're ready, you can slowly start to uncurl the spine, walk the fingertips back up towards you. And the head is the very last thing to uncurl. And then from here, we're going to bring your fingertips back behind you, your palms back behind you, fingertips facing either towards your hips or towards the top of your mat. And then we'll take that little puff of our chest one more time. So really puffing up through the chest here, lifting the gaze, lifting the chin, opening out through the throat. Let's take 3 cycles of breath into the heart space. Big breath in, feel the belly inflate. And then open the mouth, exhale. Good, big breath in. And then open the mouth, it's a nice long exhale. Good, last one, notice if the body has started to sink. See if you can really puff out through the chest, inhale. And exhale, let it go. Good. From here, we're going to make our way to lie down. Legs can stay exactly as they are. We're going to find a reclined butterfly pose here. So just leaving the legs as they are, lowering the upper body down. And then the arms can either come out nice and wide beside you with the palms facing up, or you can bring the hands to rest on the belly. So just taking whichever option feels best for you in your body. Find a little tuck of the chin here. Find a little tuck of your pelvis. Just take a moment to close down the eyes if you feel comfortable closing down the eyes. And then just start to tune into the sound of your own breath. Good. And then we'll just start to take those nice long exhale breaths here. So breathing in nice and deep through the nose. And then opening the mouth, taking a nice long exhale. Good. Just allowing the body to start to become heavy. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath here. And when you inhale, just imagine inhaling from the chest. Inhaling something that is very light and warm. And as you exhale, you release anything, any tensions that you've picked up during the course of the day. Good. And when you've finished your 3 cycles of breath, we'll move back into that constructive rest that we started tonight's class with. So just taking the soles of your feet as wide as the yoga mat, just allowing your knees to drop in against each other. You can bring the hands to rest on the belly this time. And then you have the option just to stay here, or the option if you have a block or a pillow anywhere handy, then you might like to slide this under your upper body. So I like to slide my block between my shoulder blades on my upper back. So we don't want it down here, we want it up here between the shoulder blades. And if you have a pillow, this could be a really nice position just to take a pillow underneath the upper back as well. So wherever you are, just allowing the body to settle here. So closing down the eyes, softening through the skin on your face, softening through the corners of your eyes, softening through the corners of your lips, allowing the weight of your entire body to melt into your mat, into the earth. Knowing that for the next few minutes you have nowhere else to be, you have nothing left to do. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath here. And then when you're ready, if you took a prop underneath you, you can just sneak that prop out from underneath you. And let's take our Shavasana. So sending your legs out nice and long. The arms can come to rest beside you. You might like to take a blanket or some socks. Just settling into this asana. Good. And when you get here, just allowing your body to rest. Allowing your body to become heavy. Just allowing yourself to gather together the strands of the day and then release them. From here, we're going to move into a short guided meditation to end our practice. And I'll just invite you to stay here in your Shavasana for this meditation. So just take a moment to land, to settle into stillness, to settle into silence. And then just start to become aware of your physical body in this space. And just allow any gripping or tension that you might be feeling just to melt away. And then start to tune into the sound of your own breathing. It's natural coming and going. It comes and it goes, and you'll just observe it. And then start to bring your awareness to your thinking mind. And just notice any thoughts that you might be experiencing. And then if you can, just allow yourself to put everything down. Get even more quiet. Notice how this makes you feel to put everything down. And it's in this space that the edges of your body and the natural world can soften. It's in this space that you can release any pressure or feelings of negativity, of not being enough, of not doing enough. You are enough exactly as you are. In this silence and this stillness, you are whole just as you are. And allow yourself to feel connected, calm, and grounded. And then this deep sense of knowing that wherever you are in your journey, that it's exactly where you need to be. And as you lay here cultivating this quiet space, this stillness and inner calm, know that in this space, you have the ability to exist within. And that this space is always available to you. To bring your awareness back to the sound of your breath, back to the natural coming and going of your own breath. And we'll close our practice here tonight. You can bring the hands to heart center if you'd like to. Closing with gratitude for our mind, our body, and our breath. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me this evening. And hopefully I will